How to predict your future. So this is going to sound like some woo-woo dark magic of an episode, but there's physical behaviors, things you can do right now that will actually increase the likelihood that you can predict the future accurately. I'm not saying that you will predict the future accurately. I'm saying it will increase the likelihood that your prediction will be right. And so I'm just going to get right into it. First, you need to look at your calendar, right? Look at your calendar and look at what you do every single day, right? Look at what you do every single day, then look what you do across a week, and then across a month, and then across a year. What have you spent your time doing over these time frames, right? And what you can do is, based off of what you've spent your time doing, that is a very good indicator of what you will probably spend the future doing, right? There's a high chance that there's some relation between what you're doing, what you did in the past, and what you will do in the future. There is some connection there because of just the way that, our behavior as human beings works, right? We do things that we want to do or don't want to do, and we just perpetuate that cycle and we continue it. And it evolves. It might not be an exact prediction, but you can use it to deduce what you will probably be doing in your future. So walk through your calendar, do it daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly, and look at what you're doing. And then from these tasks that you're doing, you can then expand, right? Okay, so if I am going to the gym every single day for the entire year, then I can probably predict that next year in the future, I will be at close to that same level, right? I can roughly expect to go to the gym pretty consistently next year. You can predict that behavior. If you were inconsistent with playing the guitar, even though you wanted to learn how to play the guitar, you can predict that you might be even less consistent next year, and you can shift that. You can realize that, okay, my behavior is trending in this direction based off of what I've been doing during my day-to-day on my calendar, so I can shift that. So if I want to learn the guitar, I just need to change the way I perceive that behavior, right? Playing the guitar, it's a low priority on my list. I don't really do it that often. So next year, I can predict that it'll be less if I don't change it. So you reframe your mindset, and then you can actively go out of your way to make sure you schedule in those times to practice the guitar. And then you're basically changing your future. You're predicting you're using the past to predict a potential outcome of a future, and then changing that outcome by changing your behavior. It's pretty fucking remarkable. It's nothing life-changing. It's just very rational. It's very logical. And it all starts from your calendar, really. The next principle is to look at your habits, okay? So this kind of goes back to the calendar thing, but look at the good habits you have and look at the bad habits you have, and just do an audit, right? Every single day, what are the things you actually do consistently, habitually, right? Write those down on a piece of paper, and then identify them, segregate them as good and bad, and then figure out which habits, and then start to notice patterns between these habits. Start to group them together, circle them, and group them together into categories that allow you to see, okay, so these selections of habits can help me to predict that I will be this certain way in the future, right? I am going to the gym, I'm eating clean, I am sleeping well. So that can be a predictor for longevity in my future, right? That can be a predictor that I will feel more healthy and more energetic maybe in the future. And so your habit, and well, obviously works in the opposite way side too, right? With your bad habits. So these habits can help to explain a certain future that you might possibly have, right? Keyword might possibly have, right? The likelihood of you having this, characteristic of building this trait based off of these habits is much higher than you just sitting there and guessing, right? And so your habits are another place to look if you're looking for metrics to infer based off of, right? And then what you want to do is you want to look at your calendar, then you want to look at your habits, and you want to mesh them together. You want to mesh together what you do on a daily basis and what you do habitually, right? And when you mesh them together, you can really start to piece together how you live your life, essentially. Like, what are the requisite parts of your actual life, and that life you can then use, and then no, not that life, that information, that meshing of your calendar and your habits, you can then put it into an LLM. This is actually really interesting. You can put into an LLM, like Claude or GPT-4, and you can basically test this idea, right? You can test these ideas and run it through, and just keep iterating upon these layers, right? And start to really dig deep into the potential outcomes, right? You can literally tell it. You can probably prompt it to have like a likelihood metric, like the likelihood that this is the outcome that will happen in the future. And so the LLM can help you to work your way through predicting your future behavior. And it's absolutely mind-boggling that this is within our reach now, But yeah, you thought that this was woo-woo magic? No, it's behavior. How to predict your future? You look at your calendar, you look at your habits, you put them together, and then you ask ChatGPT what your future looks like. Goodbye.